Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about digital marketing for pet adoption. And before I get started, I wanted to let you guys know that any animal featured in this presentation, all except one, is currently adoptable and hard to place. So if any of them get your fancy, please let me know at the end of the presentation. So, exactly. All right, so who am I? Who is Corpause, and what will you be gaining from this presentation? Well, my name is Kara Hamada. I've been in the digital advertising world for the past 4 years, managing really big website projects. So my background and my career is in advertising, but my passion is in helping animals. So I've been helping animals for the past 5 years. A year ago, I started Corpause, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to helping hard-to-place homeless animals. So these are animals with special needs, behavioral issues, senior animals, second chance, both dogs and cats. I put together a team of very experienced marketing individuals to sit as my board, and then we have a wide range of marketing volunteers outside of the board. And what we did was we created an online hub that showcases hard-to-place homeless animals in existing rescues and shelters today. So we don't physically have a location, we're all digital. So we partner with rescues and shelters like Project Pooch and like Cat Adoption Team. They're two of our partners. And we market their hard-to-place animals all in one centralized place. We also run a full digital advertising campaign for our animals to ensure that they're seen by a much broader audience than they usually would be. So we are new. We launched our website 3 months ago, and we plan to be nationwide by 2017. So that is Corpause. And what will you be gaining from this presentation? So what I want you guys to gain from this presentation is basically the understanding of how marketing can affect homeless animals. So I'm actually going to teach you a lot of things I think you probably don't know already about digital advertising, and then hopefully you can take what you learn and bring it back to whatever rescue or shelter you either work for or you volunteer for, etc. So Corpause is not going to be the main presentation. I just wanted to kind of tell you what we do, and then I'm really talking about digital advertising. All right, so this is the one photo of not a hard-to-place animal in this presentation, obviously. But let's quickly talk about why does digital marketing matter, and how does marketing help homeless animals. So I want a really quick show of hands of everybody here who has internet access in either their home or their workspace. Great, all right, so how many people here own their own laptop? Okay, how many people here own a smartphone that has internet access? And how many people here own both a laptop and a smartphone? All right, so pretty much everybody, actually. That is not surprising to me. Really quickly, sir, if I told you to tell me the name of a dog rescue that helps special needs dogs in Pennsylvania, how would you do that?
Use Google.
Aha! That's what I thought. So it seems pretty obvious that technology is something that helps makes our lives a lot easier. So why would we not utilize technology to help your animals be seen by a broader public? So that is basically my whole thought process on this. And I'm going to hit you guys with some pretty cool statistics right now. So in the United States, there are 319 million Americans that live in the United States right now. In 2012, a whopping 62% of Americans owned animals. So that's well over 160 million people owning animals, and that was 3 years ago. So I can only imagine what the number is now. So if over 280 million people are online, it's pretty obvious to me it's a gold mine that you have to be online, and you have to do it right to actually make it efficient for getting your animals seen. These are my website best practices for anybody. It could be for nonprofits. It could be for your own business if you're just here not a part of an animal rescue group. So this is Buddy Boy. He's currently with our partner Family Dogs New Life. He is adorable. He has a little bit of a behavioral issue with being overprotective of people, but other than that, he totally is super cute. So first of all, let's quickly talk about think user experience. So when a user first comes to your website, you have to assume that they don't know you at all. They have no idea what you do. So when they first come to your website, are they confused by everything that they see? A lot of rescues and shelters have a lot of information that they don't exactly know what to do with because it's great info. So you want to try to keep copy on a website, which is writing on a website, very simple and to the point, especially on the homepage. You have less than 10 minutes to grab the attention of a user if they don't know who you are before they leave your page. Some marketers say less than 2 seconds. So if you've got 2 seconds to pull someone's attention to want to learn more about your website, make sure they're not confused by what's on there. So
You said 10 minutes.
I meant 10 seconds and 2 seconds. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Heather. So quickly with CorePause, when we strategize how to put together the homepage, when a user first landed on our site, they know exactly what we do because we focus on animals that tend to be overlooked today. We try to keep the copy very concise and to the point, telling them what we do and pretty much what we want them to do as well. We want them to find an adoptable animal, we want them to support our cause, etc. So on that note, we're going to quickly talk about CTAs. And on a website, all that means are calls to actions. So a call to action is anything that you want the user to do once they come to your website. So usually with websites, I'm trying to keep it to less than 2 primary calls to action. So it can be something like you want a user to visit your adopt page, or you want your user to donate to you, or you want your user to contact you. So you have to kind of think, when a new user comes to your site, what do you want them to do? So with CorePause, we have 2 primary calls to action. If a new user comes to our site, we want them to first off visit our adopt page to look at a lot of our hard-to-place animals. The second thing that we would want them to do is donate to our cause. To keep this nonprofit running, we need to have overhead costs covered, so that is really important to us. And there's a couple ways of doing this. So you can either change the button color of one of your CTAs because button colors will draw the attention to that particular button. And you can also put whatever's relevant and really important first in your primary navigation because humans read left to right. So if you want them to look at something first, you're putting it first. So as you can see, we put adopt first. Find an adoptable animal just redirects to adopt, and that's also in a different color. And then donate is in a different color as well. And really quickly on this, one of our board members has years and years of strategy experience and figured out that blue is a thoughtful color. And that means that users more so think about doing something than actually do it. But orange, red, and yellow hues are action-oriented colors, which actually make people want to click on the button more than if it was a thoughtful color. So in the next few weeks, we're going to be changing our buttons to the action-oriented color. And that actually had like years and years of marketing research behind it, which is crazy, but it's totally true. Some people will click on buttons more than others. So that is CTAs, above the fold. So in digital advertising, above the fold is simply talking about anything that you see when you first come to your website before the user has to scroll down. Now this goes back to user experience. Think that they have no idea what you do. They have never come to your website before. They're not going to scroll down if they're super confused at what is above the fold. If what is above the fold is simple, to the point, and tells them exactly what you do, and they're interested, they'll most likely scroll down to look at what is below the fold. So you kind of want to just think of this imaginary fold line when you're either revamping your website or looking at the website that you have now to kind of figure out, do we have relevant information high up enough on the page that people see it before having to scroll down. And this is an imaginary line because everyone's coming in from different browsers, different computer sizes, phone, tablet, etc. So it's an imaginary line, but really a best practice for digital is to keep relevant information as high up on the page as you can. So that is my little tidbit on keeping things above the fold. And that goes right into navigation on the whole thing we've been talking about with user experience. So taking a look at your navigation structure of your website. So in my job, one of my duties is to create sitemaps and to create wireframes for the websites that we create. So a sitemap, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about that. I think everyone here should do one for the website that they represent. I think it's a really great practice to see how your website is even laid out and if it makes sense or not. So with websites, I usually always say that you should have less than 6 primary navigation elements, and primary navigation is anything on the top of the page. So we have 4, soon to be 3, because we're pulling out FAQs. And the footer navigation is anything that is in the primary navigation, but also elements in your primary navigation that aren't extremely important for the user to click on to actually do your CTA that we were talking about. So FAQs, we decided to pull that out of our primary navigation because we don't feel that a user who doesn't know who we are will want to know our FAQs to not click on the adopt page. Does that make sense? It's not holding them back from getting to the adopt page or to click on donate. So, and I was going to talk to you guys quickly about the sitemap. Where is it? Here. So this is what a sitemap looks like. This is not one of mine, but I just pulled this off of Google. And basically what it is you make a sitemap to outline the different pages on your site with sub-navigation elements. So the primary navigation would be on this website about what's new, press releases, report corruption now, and the sub-navigation pages would be history, vision and mission, advisory board, etc. So the reason why you do this is because it goes back to user experience. So when you have all of your pages laid out and how they're all looking, if you see sub-navigational elements that don't relate to the primary navigation element, but they're still situated under that, you have to pull that out. That is confusing to the user. They're not going to understand why that page is in that dropdown, and it'll be a little confusing. So when you're able to pull out the pages that don't make sense, you might find that those pages actually would work really well together under like a resources or a blog or something that you don't already have on your website or in the footer. So they're still there, but they're just not as important as everything else. So we're going to quickly talk about our 3 last things in website best practices. Responsive website is next. So this goes back to talking about how many people visit your websites on their phones or on a tablet device. So a responsive website simply means that no matter what device you're on, the user has a good experience on it. So they could be on their phone, tablet, or their desktop, and they would get a great user experience no matter what. So I think the best way to show this is to show you quickly what our site looks like if you're on a tablet. So this is what our site looks like if you're on a tablet. This is what our site looks like if you're on a laptop. So as you get smaller, things just kind of start stacking. And it's still easy to understand for the user. If your site isn't responsive, when a user comes to your site on their phone, it may be a little bit confusing. Your website might shrink really small, so you have to double click to make it look bigger. Responsive websites are created during the design and development portion of any website. So if you already have an existing website, it's very possible to go back and do it. It just takes time and money. So realistically, if you were revamping your website, it would be great to put this as a wish list category to do in the future. I think it makes the most sense if you have data that proves that people are coming to your site on mobile, and I'm going to teach you how to know that in the next couple of minutes. With CorePods, we had about 50% of users coming from desktop, and about 50% of our users coming in on mobile or tablets. So for us, we know that almost half of the people visiting our site are coming in on their phone, so it was a necessity. We had to do it. Even though it cost us more money up front, we had to do it from a user experience. Legal rights to photos. So I wanted to bring this up because this is, in advertising, a huge deal, but I noticed on nonprofit websites, not as big of a deal, but it's still really important because of copyright issues. So there's 3 types of photos that you can use on your website. There's stock photography, which is buying photos from a vendor online that hosts thousands of them. You get the rights to use the photo online for a period of time, however long you pay for them. And there's Google Images, where you search for an image and you find a super cute photo that you want to put on your website. Don't do that. That's the worst thing you could do. Google Images pulls images from other people's websites. So if you're using a Google image on your website, it is probably copyrighted and you just don't want to go down that road. And then lastly, and I think the best way, is to utilize real photos on your website. CorePause, when we were strategizing, we decided that we would only use real photos on our website. We had such great photography from our partners that it was a no-brainer. Stock photography is really good when you're looking for a specific type of photo that it just takes way too much effort to bring in a photographer to get like a photo of a woman like kissing her dog. So if you need that, that's probably $40 and you get the rights digitally for like a few years. So that's legal rights to photos. And then my last one was, what was it? Compelling animal pages. So when we first strategized how to create CorePause, we put a lot of thought into how were we going to show our animals online. And what we decided to do initially was just a lot of marketing research, and what we used were existing organizations that do a really great job. So big name animal welfare organizations that we know likely have enough donations coming in that they have a full marketing team that spend every second trying to figure out the best ways of marketing their animals online. So we chose a few of our top contenders, and we basically kind of picked and choose what we liked from all of them and then put in a bunch of our own recommendations to create our adoption pages. So when it comes to writing descriptions, our partners write the descriptions. We copy edit, which means that we have a copywriter, and a copywriter is someone who does writing for a living for marketing. And our first submissions, we had our copywriter go through them from a marketing standpoint and let us know if she thought that we would be able to. And again, this goes back to what Heather was saying. We're not selling the animals, but from a marketing standpoint, we're kind of selling them, like online, trying to get people to look at them. So if she thought that we were doing a good job of getting someone to want to adopt one of these animals. So we are very straightforward with what behavioral issues or what makes our animals hard to place, because all of our animals are hard to place. So they definitely come with tags that tell, like, hey, this is a second or third chance animal. He or she may have a few behavioral issues. We're very straightforward with the user on what is the issue, if there are issues, but we try to tell the partner to write a bunch of other characteristic personality traits that out-trump it being a senior animal, or, just things like that. So far we've gotten, this was actually from Cat Adoption Team. Athena just recently moved to MCAS. Lowry is a great volunteer at Cat Adoption Team and writes these incredible descriptions for our animals, and he really feels connected. So whoever is writing the descriptions needs to have watched the animal, been with the animal, understood it. The worst thing you can have is somebody reach out to you because they're interested in one of your animals online, and then you tell them a bunch of other things that you didn't put in the description, and that's just terrible for marketing. It just diminishes your whole brand online, so don't do that. Videos are extremely important to getting your animals adopted. CorePause launched without this functionality. We didn't have it in our budget at the time, but we will be adding it soon, hopefully. So if you have an iPhone, just upload a really quick, great YouTube video of that animal, and believe me, the emotional pull that a video has over an image is huge. And if you don't have any way to do a video, then doing compelling photography for your animals is next. So we have worked with a lot of rescues where we won't put their animals on our site until they get better photography. So we've gone back and forth. It's almost like a negative thing to put the animal on the website if the photos are really, really bad. So we try to work with them and to try to get them to give us as good photos as they can to get on our website. They do not have to be professional in any way. They just need to be just like the animal. We don't want them to be behind bars, looking so sad. We want them to really get their personality and look happy. And we also, I forgot to tell you guys, we decided to write from the perception of the animal, and that was really important to us. from doing a lot of marketing research, we wanted to give a voice to our animals, and this is like exactly how you do that. You give them the voice and kind of think of how they would sound if they were talking. And then we also said, hey, but we've also nicknamed Athena Little Love, so you know that she's totally taken care of, and everyone loves her because she's this little love, and so that's kind of why we decided to do things that way. So those were my marketing best practices, and I'm going to finish up with some marketing that happens behind the scenes that you guys probably, you may or may not be aware of, but it's actually super important, so I want you guys to take note of everything that I talk here. This is Martin. He's with Family Dogs New Life. He was in a hit-and-run situation that left him paralyzed. He also doesn't have control over his bowel functionality, so he's very hard to place in the fact that whoever adopts him needs to be home to be able to change his diaper and to also have a wheelchair-accessible house. But he's like super happy there, and he's doing water therapy, so he's totally loved, but also very hard to place, one of our hardest, I'd say. So let's quickly talk about paid search, which is search engine marketing. And anytime that you do a search on Google. So here I did a search on Animal Shelter Oregon. The first 3 spots that show up, and then the first, I think it's 4 or 5 down the right-hand side, are paid ads. And you know that they're paid ads because there's a yellow box that says ad. And so that means that those companies are paying for those advertisements to show up first. They're bidding against each other for those keywords, Animal Shelter Oregon, to show up first. Anything that shows up that doesn't have a yellow box that says ad shows up organically, which means that they are not paying for it. That's really all it means, is that they're not paying for it. So there's paid and there's unpaid. So really quickly, if you are a 501c3 nonprofit, you should be on Google Grants. It's a grant offered by Google that offers up to $10,000 a month of free advertising on this platform. You just need to have somebody on your team or a volunteer who understands how to use Google AdWords. But if you don't have that, Google is amazing and has a free academy online with everything you could ever need to know to learn how to use this. So I came with no understanding of Google AdWords, and I went through the academy. It took me about a week to 2 weeks, and now I feel like I know way more about it. So even if you don't have anybody, you can definitely learn about Google AdWords. It's free. And also Google Grants gives you free email. It gives you a lot of amazing things through Google, so you should definitely sign up for it. Google AdWords dashboard, I just wanted to quickly show you guys what it would look like once you set up a Google AdWords account and we're logging in to create ads and to bid on keywords. So this is kind of what ours will look like. And once we started our digital marketing campaign, the numbers of people visiting our website skyrocketed. We have a great paid search team that runs our paid search ads, but if you're not on it, I strongly encourage you to get on Google AdWords with your website. You will get way more visits to your website every day. And then we're going to quickly talk on Google Analytics, which is also another great product by Google. It allows you to track users on your website. And why would you want to know this, they say? Well, it's really important to know if users are actually coming to your website. Because if no one's actually coming to your website, then all of this work that we've done, it won't really matter. But if you put Google Analytics on your website, you can know that in a month you had 2,000 people visit your site. They came in on mobile, desktop, and tablet. 50 people were coming from Portland, 100 people were coming from Seattle, how long they stayed on your website, and that's just with, you sign up for Google Analytics. It's free. It gives you a little code that you give your web developer to place on every page of your website. And just doing that only gives you all of this information, which is vital to figuring out if new people are coming or if people are returning to your website. CorePass takes it to a whole nother level. With Google Analytics, so we have a few analysts that help us set everything up, but we track every movement on our website. So every button is tracked. We set up goals, which allows us to know how many people are coming to this page and then going to this page. How many people are spending more than 3 minutes on our website? And so what we've done is we've awarded CorePause with fake revenue for every time that a user on our website completes one of the goals that we actually want them to do, to see if our marketing is actually making people do what we want to do. So if a user spends more than 3 minutes on our website, we award us with 10 fake dollars in Google Analytics, which basically means every week or month, whenever it's checked, we can log in and quickly see, hey, we made $100,000 of fake revenue. This totally means that people are visiting our site and doing what we want them to do. So Google Analytics is very powerful. That is literally the tip of the iceberg on what you can do with it. It's kind of creepy to, like, you can get down to, like, I feel like you, like, know people after, like, seeing their information on the site, but never any personal information is shared. But yeah, Google Analytics is free, and if you don't know about Google Analytics, same thing with Google AdWords. You can take their free academy, watch all the videos, read all the articles, and learn everything you could ever need to know about this. And so that is what I did. I sat for their free certification, so technically I'm certified in Google Analytics, so you can be too, because I didn't know anything about it before I started a couple years ago. So this is vital information for you guys. And then the last 2 points I'm just quickly going to touch on before I end is SEO and social media marketing. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, and all that means is this goes back to when we were talking about paid search versus organic listings. So it's organic listings. So it's how do you optimize your website for showing up organically through search. And Reese probably knows way more about this than I do because it's not something that I do for a living. We have people on our team that help us with SEO. But a few things that come to mind for me when it comes to search engine optimization to optimize your website are things like keeping something on your website that is continually updated, like a blog or a company news page or anything like that. That tells Google that your page is relevant because you're continually updating it with new information. Also having your website linked from other websites tells Google that your website's relevant because other people are talking about it and linking to your website. And then just like Reese said, like utilizing keywords throughout your web copy of things that you think people would be Googling for. So animal shelter, organ, rescue, pregnant mama cats, or whatever your thing is, putting that through the copy. And if you want to know more about search engine optimization, reach out to me because I have so many articles that I could send you guys through our agency of really interesting techniques with search engine optimization, and I'll totally send that to you guys. And then lastly, quickly, I'm going to talk to you about social media marketing because I personally don't really do social media that much, and actually most of my team doesn't either, so we're actually looking for people who like social media. So if you do, please let me know. We have social media running on all of our different channels, and we create a posting calendar. So we pre-schedule our posts through a vendor called Hootsuite because we all work full-time positions outside of CorePause, so we don't have time to post and answer people and things like that. So we have a posting calendar that we do every 2 weeks. So we have about a month's worth of posts already created. And then one of my team members logs into Hootsuite and pre-schedules all of our posts for the whole month. And then we're good. Like, we don't have to think about it. We know the days and the dates that it's going to be posted so we can check them online. Hootsuite is great to use for social media. It's free for up to 3 accounts. If you want more than 3 accounts, I think our 3 are Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If you want more than 3 accounts, you have to pay for it. And really quickly, what Reese said about Google+, yes, I agree. It's important to have a Google+ page because it's created by Google. So no one actually knows what the equation is to get yourself ranked higher organically. But if Google created something, it makes sense to use what they created because, of course, they're pulling that into their equation too. So having a Google+ page, I think, is important as well. So I think that's it. Yeah. So thank you for listening. I hope that you learned a little bit about something that you didn't know beforehand. And if any of you guys represent any rescues or shelters, or if you have recommendations on rescues or shelters that you really love and you think would benefit from a partnership with us, it's completely free, all for the cause, and we're expanding right now. So please let me know after the presentation, and I will totally reach out to them. We love referrals. So thank you.